And welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, just welcome. My name is Rusty, and this is my channel where I talk about my favorite movies, mostly horror, and my favorite music, mostly metal. And if I seem a little irritated, it's just because, for the first time ever, I just recorded an entire video and forgot to turn my mic on. Yeah, I really did that. And didn't know until I went to play it back. And was like, oh my God. Now will I remember my jokes? I'll just have to let it come naturally like it did the first time, and maybe it'll all work out the same. So welcome. Boob shots. Titties, titties everywhere. Now, let's begin this. Because I'm sure you're questioning right now, what the fuck is this? Yes. Okay. I've been in the horror community for several years now. I love the horror community on YouTube. And I have noticed a disparity. But then again, it mirrors the disparity that we have in movies, especially horror, and always have. And that is, there is a serious imbalance between female nudity and male nudity. But I also noticed that it seems to be that way in the horror community as well, which, I mean, goes without saying. I'm not saying it's wrong or anything, because if it were, there would be basically no channels that I could watch, because they all do it for the most part. And believe it or not, you know, there are channels that are ran by girls as well, like Rainbow Fright, for instance. I love listening to her, you know, talk about movies and stuff like that, but even they, you know, nobody really seems to do it. And that is that hundreds of times, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, across hundreds and hundreds of videos, I'm always having to hear, you know, oh, the movie's all right, but there's also this really good shower scene in it. I mean, boobs. I mean, Danielle Harris's tits. Oh my God. You know, hey, movie's okay. It's got some sexy chicks in it. You know what I mean? Boobs, boobs everywhere. So, if this offends you, if this upsets you, if this makes you feel all icky inside, it's alright. You'll be okay. Just go throw on something like Slumber Party Massacre and follow the bouncing boobs all the way to a feeling of happiness. Again, you'll be okay, I promise. Because tonight, I'm going to do something for myself. And that is, I'm going to give a little attention to the other side of the fence. That's right. If I have to listen to all of your titty talk, consider this my revenge. Plain old delicious revenge. Okay? Now, your tastes and mileage may vary. That's why Baskin-Robbins has 30-something flavors or more, you know? So, understand, this is mine. Welcome to the 2023 Horror Booty Award, where I am going to celebrate 10 plus 1 honorable mention of the hottest male butt shots in horror. Now, pick yourself up off the floor. You'll be alright. Because I'm going to do this thing. I have a right to have fun on my own channel, do I not? Okay? So we're going to do that. If I have to listen to all of your titty talk, you can stand it. I promise. You know, if you had to see Bruce Willis's ass in 12 Monkeys, you'll be okay. So, a little bit about that. Why there's such a disparity, I don't know. You know, you got, and I guess some people really are like Rob Zombie. In their reality, women are stripped completely naked and the guys have sex with their clothes on, like no guy I've ever heard of. But in Rob Zombie's reality, as far as Halloween 1 and 2 went, that's the way it is. Strip buck naked, and the guys had sex with their clothes on. It was very strange. He must have a very small ego. I don't know. It's strange. But that doesn't mean that every director and every movie has that problem. And we are going to look at 11 of them. So welcome to the Horror Booty Awards, and we're going to get down to it. I am going to go through 11 10 out of 10 full moons and award the Golden Jockstraps to our deserving fellas and their deserving asses. And that's just the way it's going to be. And we are going to begin with our honorable mention, and that is 2011's Shark Night. Now, interestingly enough, Mr. Zombie, this is PG-13. It's a PG-13 movie. And yet it's got the top 11 ass shots in horror. It's weird. And the award goes to Chris Zylka, playing Blake in Shark Night. Wonderful little scene where he is like, he's the model in a art class. And that little ding they do on his eye to try to momentarily distract you from that perfectly, exquisitely carved and cultivated booty of his. And yes, Chris Zylka, Shark Night, you get the Golden Jockstrap Award, 10 out of 10 full moons, no problem. Now we're going to move on to a twofer. That's right. 2 flawless asses in one movie. Could you ask for any more? Well, turns out later on in the list, we will have more than 2 asses in one movie. But for now, we have a character named Jesse Walsh. Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Freddy's Revenge. Not only do we have the wonderful Jesse Walsh, played by Mark Patton, and that little pants pull down scene of his and the shower scene, but we also get a twofer, and that is, if your taste run for a more mature wine experience, we have the indomitable Coach Snyder, naughty boy that Freddy decides needs a spanking. Coach Snyder, and he is played by Marshall Bell, and we have Mark Patton playing Jesse Walsh. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Both of you win the Golden Jockstraps. 10 out of 10 full moons. Perfect asses. Filmed exquisitely. I would like to thank the director for his attention. And that takes us on to number 9. Number 9 is from 1985, and it is Brendan Fraser. Did you know he did a nude scene? Well, this is the only one, I think. Did you know he did a horror movie? This is the only one, I think. And do not say The Mummy. You can if you want to, but if you consider, I suppose if you consider Raiders of the Lost Ark a horror movie, then you can consider The Mummy a horror movie. But I don't consider The Mummy a horror movie. I consider it more of a fantasy or something. But in any event, what is it, PG or something? But this is Brendan Fraser's The Passion of Darkly Noon. Now, Brendan Fraser plays a religious cult victim who, after an attack by either another cult or the FBI or something like that, he ends up, walking alone. He's never been outside the cult. And he ends up at Ashley Judd and her husband, Viggo Mortensen. Fantastic cast. He ends up at their house, and he is a psycho. Very Norman Bates. It's a fantastic movie, The Passion of Darkly Noon. Brendan Fraser plays Darkly Noon. And there is a nude scene in which we get to see Brendan Fraser's ass for a nice period of time. And, well, let's just say this was way before he turned into a whale, if you know what I mean. So, Brendan, you get the Golden Jockstrap Award for 1995's The Passion of Darkly Noon. We will talk more about this release, which I am so happy about, in my April update. Now we're moving on to 2006, a movie about a coven of witches, and it's not The Craft. And again, we have the unusual, which is very strange. We have The Craft, which was rated R and had nothing. And then we have what? The Covenant. 2006. I love it so much. I've got the DVD and kept the case and all, and the Blu-ray. This is The Covenant, 2006. And the Golden Jockstrap Award goes to Pogue Perry playing Tyler Kitsch in this movie. Now, to show you how fair I am, this movie also has a hilarious female butt shot. And that's, yeah, so you get a locker room scene and asses everywhere, guys' asses everywhere. And you also get a female, and it's PG-13. Isn't that strange, Mr. Rated R Rob Zombie? I don't really get it. But in any event, the female scene is pretty funny because, they're witches, these guys. And they use their powers in the bar. She's over there by the bar, ordering a drink. And they're making fun of the fact that she never wears underwear. And one of the guys says, I don't believe you. So one of the witches says, I'll show you. And blows her skirt up. And it's full. It's a full moon. But you also have what we're really here for. And that is that locker room scene. Perfection. Who doesn't like a good locker room scene? Well, you know what I mean. The Covenant, 2006. Pogue Perry playing Taylor Kitsch. You get the Golden Jockstrap Award. 10 out of 10 full moons. Now, moving on, we have Cillian Murphy. 2002. He plays a character named Jim, who wakes up in a hospital room all alone, locked in, because the whole world's gone crazy from a rage virus, and it is 28 days later. Cillian Murphy, one of the hottest little opening scenes of a movie I've ever seen. Yes, 10 out of 10 full moons. You get the Golden Jockstrap Award, Cillian. Playing Jim in 28 days later. Flawless. Moving on. Now, I believe he did this movie just to prove a point. Not only is it a fantastic movie, it's creepy as fuck. And it's very scary. It's got this real Deliverance vibe. But I think that where this scene is concerned, because that's what we're here to talk about, where this scene is concerned, I think he basically just wanted to say, you know what, I may have turned 40, but you can still bounce a quarter off my ass all night long. That's how firm and tight and held up just right that bitch is. And that's Ryan Phillippe in Catch Hell. It's a fantastic movie. I love it. It's so creepy. From the producers of Saw, or the producer of Saw. I love the story. I love how creepy it is. I love yeah. You can tell it's from the producer of Saw. But there is that scene where Ryan Phillippe is, well, he's about to be, let's just say it's definitely a squeal like a pig moment. And he's basically an actor who is kidnapped by a couple of rednecks. And we are talking Deliverance swamp type rednecks. And one wants revenge, but the other is in love with him. And so you can imagine how things go. And it is excellent. His scene, that scene is excellent. Primo Booty. 10 out of 10 full moons. Ryan, you get the Golden Jockstrap. No question. Moving on to number 5, we have the year 2000. And we have a character named Patrick Bateman, played by Christian Bale, in a movie called American Psycho. Now, talk about a shower scene, right? He took care of that shit just right. You know how vain he was in this movie? It didn't stop with just his face and hair. You know what I'm saying? That shower scene is infamous. Mona Lisa? Oh, please, honey, you don't know what art is, okay? Him standing in that shower with that glistening. Oh, I'm not even going to talk about it. Why not? That's what we're here for. His ass glistening like diamonds in the shower. That was just a flawless scene. Christian Bale. 10 out of 10 full moons. You get the Golden Jockstrap Award. And we are now moving on to 1981. 1981. 10 out of 10 full moons. I'm acting like Tina Turner now, aren't I? The actor's name is Larry Joshua, playing Glazer in 1981's The Burning. Now, the full moon shot is pretty cool, too, where you have Jason Alexander before his ass became a sack of potatoes, and those two other guys that are mooning Glazer from across the creek, or across the river. But later on, we get to see Glazer in his glory, and it shines like a bright moonlight. So, yes, 10 out of 10 full moons. Golden Jockstrap Award goes to Larry Joshua as Glazer in 1981's The Burning. Now, remember earlier I told you that although one might think that two asses in one, like in Nightmare on Elm Street 2, is all you could hope for, au contraire, because in 1983, that was proven incorrect. It was proven incorrect by a little film called Sleepaway Camp. And I am, of course, talking about the infamous skinny dip scene, where you have this whole bevy of bouncing little lemons running across the pier to jump into the creek. Every time I touch this, I can hear my Blu-ray player right now going, please God, no, don't put that in, don't put that in. Oh my Lord, you're going to tear me up. The pause and the step frame. Will that tear up a Blu-ray? I doubt it. But let me tell you, in any event, my Blu-ray player it's literally trembling over there right now with these movies sitting here, because it knows pause, frame step, pause, frame step. Don't kid me, you know you do it too. So yes, Sleepaway Camp, 10 out of 10 full moons for a whole bevy of little booties as they run across the pier. You get, we had to buy out the little trophy store for that group. Sleepaway Camp, 1983, the skinny dip scene, asses everywhere. And not a bad one in the bunch. I wonder if they had auditions for that. I wonder if the director literally said, look, I need 15 guys with flawless asses to run down here. Not a bump, not a bruise, not a potato sack. They were all flawless. He should get an award for that, just for that. But he does have my appreciation. Now we're moving on to number 2. Number 2, we have Kevin Jensen's. The year is 2017. The character is Richard. And the movie is Revenge, where the whole last 16, 17 minutes is him completely buck-ass naked from top to bottom, front to back. Of course, you have to ignore all that blood, but probably one of the best endings in a movie, period. So bloody. It's ridiculously bloody. It's completely over the top, but that's what makes it so great. Besides his ass. So yes, 2017's Revenge. 10 out of 10 full moons. And a golden jockstrap for you, Richard. Also known as Kevin Jensen's. And now that brings us to number one, the winner. The glorious crown. Of course, we're using jockstraps because the head is not really what we're concentrating on tonight, is it? So, we are back to 1981. And a little character named Billy Lynch, played by Jimmy McNichol. In 1981's Night Warning, Butcher Baker, Nightmare Maker. Christian, I'm sorry. Your shower scene is glorious. And, has to be bowed to. But Jimmy McNichol's ass in this movie, in this shower scene, it takes the whole cake. 10 out of 10 full moons, you win, baby. You win. You win all the prizes. The shower scene from Butcher Baker, Nightmare Maker. And that concludes it. That's it. You are the winner. Now let's talk a little bit about nudity. Some people may go, why are you making such a big deal? Well, I don't know. Why do people make such a big deal about little innocent boob shots in all these slashers? Because there's a big difference. I mean, unless you have an IQ of 12.5, anybody can type in xvideos.com. You can go see hardcore pornography anywhere. Hardcore pornography and what they call incidental nudity. There's a huge difference. Incidental nudity is for the giggle factor. Oh, it's Danielle Harris's boobs. Oh, look at all those streakers. Oh, that's what incidental nudity is. And it's a whole different feeling. And it gives you a little giggle in the middle of the movie, or it gives you a little, oh, I just saw Brad Pitt's butt in 12 Monkeys. So, yeah, I love incidental nudity, and sometimes I think incidental nudity is hotter than hardcore porn because they serve different purposes. I don't have nothing against porn, whatever, but incidental nudity is like a little class by itself. And, yeah, that's all I've heard is boobs and tits and tits and boobs on every horror channel. They've always got to throw it in, so I feel it's okay for me to throw it in because guess what? Gay guys and straight girls, we exist too, and we get to giggle too, and we deserve to say it. We deserve to say that the lead actor in, the first Final Destination is gorgeous. We deserve to get to say that. Why don't they get praise, I don't watch movies for the female in that reason. I watch females in movies for Meryl Streep. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing. It's just a different side of the fence. And we're allowed to say it, praise it, and celebrate it as well. And that is the 2023 Horror Booty Awards. Top 10 plus one honorable mention of the hottest male butt shots in horror movies. And yes, feel free to leave a comment down below if you have your favorite male butt shots. And you know what? Because I'm so fair and because I have to listen to it all the time, you can tell me your top 10 boob shots or female shots in a movie if you're of that persuasion. That's okay too. That's the whole point of this, is that we get to have a little fun as well. And I will see you in the next little thing that I do. Love you, miss you, bye-bye. Always remember, never forget, you're a very, very special person. Boy butt power. Okay? The ass. You have the boobs, I get the ass. We can make a deal. Okay? Love you, miss you, bye-bye.